Hey, what's going on, guys? On today's video, we're going to be covering the 5 things that coaches and consultants could do to help them to improve their sales closing rate. So let's jump into that, you guys. And the reason that you're going to want to stay to the very, very end is that because number 5 is a question that I get asked all of the time, and that is, how do I present my product or service at a price point that actually works for my business and increase my closing rate? So stay to the very end because you're going to want to understand how to better present the financial aspect of your service or product. First thing, number 1, coaches and consultants, stop screwing up what I call the first 5s. The first 5s are the first 5 seconds of the call and the first 5 minutes of the call. So when it comes to the first 5 seconds of the call, statistics and data, in fact, a Harvard study showed that people make a snapshot decision of whether they like and trust you all within the first 3 to 5 seconds. So it's very, very important that we're presenting a couple things. Number 1, that we're sharp, we're to the point, we've got good energy, and that we're likable. You do not want to be over the top as far as energy levels. You don't want to blast somebody out of the gate, especially if you're dealing with somebody that's more of a conservative, an introvert or shy. You don't want to be over the top. So you just want to be presenting yourself as friendly, outgoing, and sharp and to the point within the first 5 seconds. We'll do more trainings on that here in future videos. When it comes to the first 5 minutes of the call, this is all about creating rapport with the customer. Okay, this is where we're giving information about ourselves, we're asking questions about themselves. This is what I tend to call bar talk. This is, hey, where are you from? What's going on in life? What we're looking for, though, is we're looking for some indicators as to whether are they married, are they single, do they have business partners? And we're trying to make some quick decisions as to their overall situation in life, which is certainly helpful when it comes to the later part of the conversation when we start talking about the financial aspect of selling your services or products. So take time, create rapport. Don't be too lengthy. That time should only take within the first 3 to 5 minutes of the call. If you drag that out, people start to get antsy and want to jump right into the conversation. So stop messing up what I call the first 5s. Number 2, the second thing is stop using the script that you got downloaded off of the internet or from some guru that you paid a coaching program to. I can't tell you how many times I've heard or listened to sales reps that have jumped on the first of the conversation and have essentially just, okay, so tell me why is the reason that you joined the call? No rapport, no understanding of the frame. There's all kinds of questions that are going on in the prospect's mind. Who is this business owner? Hopefully they saw some information about your marketing and they know who you are. But if you have sales reps and you're a business owner, you need to make sure that you're understanding how to utilize what I call story framing, which is essentially giving the customer a little bit of background as to why you're actually there, because what's going on in the back of their mind, oh, is this just another sales rep? So within that story frame, what we want to do is that we want to position your product and service, make sure that the customer understands who you work with, who you don't work with, and implement what I call ethical scarcity, which is helping them to understand the types of customers that you're only willing to work with, so that the customer by the end of that story frame is selling or convincing you as to why you should actually work with them or consider taking them on as a customer. We want to flip the script, stop selling people, and get them conveying to us why we should help them to solve their problems. That all happens inside of the story frame. Now, when it comes to number 3, you must start addressing objections before they come up. Now, the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, talks about this straight line sales process. Now, I look at coaching and consulting sales process as a little bit of a roller coaster, if that makes sense. Meaning that we're taking them down this emotional journey where we're discovering the problems that they have, what's happening inside of their business, what is it that's keeping them up at night, and we're getting them excited up on that roller coaster as we start to talk about the outcome or the goals and what could be if their problems and services were actually taken care of. Now, inside of that roller coaster, there's also this sphere. And I look at this sphere as almost like objections are places in which people can exit, or not, in other words, close when they get down to the very end. If you can create a tight bubble around that close so that by the time customers get down to the very end, the only logical explanation is for them to actually sign up for your services and products. So by addressing objections, that you know are going to come up inevitably at the end, all within inside of your sales presentation. It's going to eliminate the objections that you get down to the end and increase your closing ratio. We're gonna do a lot more videos on that subject as well. Okay, so number 4 is spend 10% of your time explaining the features of how your coaches or consultants service actually works, and spend 90% talking about the benefits. I see this happen all the time for coaches or consultants when I listen to sales calls or I'm reviewing their sales people's calls, is that they're spending a lot of time talking about their group coaching program and how the Facebook group works and how many calls there are and how the membership works. People care very little about how you're going to actually help them to solve the problem. They care way more about the outcome of the product. So spend about 10 minutes explaining how you're going to be working with them, and then make sure that you're going through a thorough overview of how working with them is structured that's tailored to the problems that the customer actually has. So as an example, if I'm selling some sort of service or product, or let's say a coaching program for agency owners, I'm gonna spend maybe a quick minute talking about, here's how we're gonna be working with you, here's how the calls are gonna work, here are the times, here's the Facebook group. I'm gonna only spend 10% of my time talking about that, and then I'm gonna spend the other 90% talking about, now here's how we help you to be able to reach your goals. And I talk about high level, the problems that they have that I discovered in my discovery or find out section, and I tailor the way that the program actually works to their problems that I discovered inside of that discovery call. So once again, guys, spend 10% on the features of how your program or service actually works. Spend the other 90% talking about the benefits and how it's tailored towards their services and products. Number 5 is stop just telling them a price and playing the silent game. I see this happen all of the time where coaches or consultants will say, okay, the price of the program or service, it's $5,000. And their coach or coach consultant told them to not say anything until the person actually says something or they actually purchase. It's not I'm not saying that it can't obviously work because people have sold that way. What I'm here to say is that there's a better way of explaining the financial aspect in a way that makes it simple and easy for the customer to understand, and will increase your closing ratio and really help to eliminate any kind of objections. So when I'm explaining money to somebody, all of the programs or services that I explain, I always have a belief that what it is that I'm actually selling is worth way more than I'm actually offering it. So I explain, say, hey, listen, because of what we're providing for you, we could justify charging this. We don't. The price of the program is X. Here's how this works. Most of our customers, and I'll explain to them the financial of how it actually works, and depending on the product or service, I'll actually explain the economic component behind that investment. So as an example, if I'm selling agency services, and let's say I have a $5,000, if I have a $5,000 setup fee and I'm selling, my monthly agency fee is, let's say, a few $100s a month, and I take on clients that are essentially spending at least $5,000 a month, or that are spending $5,000 on advertising. Well, depending on, the vertical that they're in, I'm going to say, hey, listen, based off of spending $5,000, knowing that my agency fee is about $3,000, off of a $5,000 a month spend, we're typically getting in leads at this cost. Now, if you're closing customers at this rate, even if you're horrible at sales and you close at this rate, projectively over the course of the next, 60, 90 days, your return on that monthly investment is going to be X. You can calculate that based off of data. The better that you can share with your customers data-driven results, the better off you're going to be. Now, if you're going to be selling something, for instance, like a weight loss program, where you're explaining to them, you can still back out the economic impact on selling some sort of like high ticket weight loss program by explaining to them, so if you were to invest into a trainer for a year, this is how much it would cost. Here's how much it's going to cost you. Here's how much money it's going to save you from, buying, healthy food and stop eating out at restaurants every month. So you can explain the economics to them. And then I just ask them simply, do you have any questions about how the financial aspect works? Then I let them ask questions. So what I'm doing is I'm starting the service out and explaining to them what I feel like the value is. Then I'm lowering it by explaining to them the price. Then what's actually happening is I'm explaining to them simple and easy about what other customers do when they're purchasing. And I'm tying out the economic side as to why it makes sense for them to invest. Then I'm letting them ask any questions. By doing it in that format will allow you to be able to say how most of your customers work, rather than just laying on the line some $10,000 thud and hoping that they actually purchase. Explain to them the reasonings behind it, then ask questions. So we have a lot more trainings just like this. What I want you to do at this time, I'd appreciate you guys to like it, smash that subscription button. And if you take some time and anything came up from a question standpoint, please comment below. I'm happy to be able to create trainings based around comments or questions that you have. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.